Hello everybody, it is Owl Night and it is Brony time, and welcome back to the sad story of Cornelia Burns. Now when we last left off, we learned a little more about her past, her history. Her aunt stole her name for her daughter and stole Amelia, so she was named Toma because Thomas is a guy's name. And we also met Emily, who we don't really know much about other than some of her story. I'm thinking she's a ghost, but we'll just have to see. Anyway, so let's get on with... Oh, wrong window. Let's get on with the story. It's true we do not know one another very well, but that is just in the present. I feel that we could become quite close if given the chance. You remind me so much of her. After all, can it be a mere coincidence? Her? I thought so from behind, but when you turned about, it became clearer than ever. You have her nose and her eyes, maybe even her forehead, too. But it's hard to tell, since it's all covered in hair. Well, I look at the ground, suddenly awkward, and dig the tip of my school shoe into the earth. I shift my right foot slightly, making a small indentation in the earth. A minute grave for an ant. I don't know if I like being compared to other people. I do that enough myself. Even if I do look like one of your friends, I don't think I want their name. I was hoping for a name of my own. Yes, of course, you do not need to worry about that. I would never be so callous as to dress you in the title of another. I apologize if it seemed that way. She does sound sorry, too, truly sorry. Even if you look like her, you are not her. You couldn't be. It is not possible. A sigh. So let me see, a name for you. A name that belongs to you and only to you. Ah, I think I have it. From now on, you can be Verity. Verity? Do you like it? It's pretty much prettier than my real name. Emily smiles, her face flushing, though once more it doesn't really flush. I just imagine that it does, with happiness. I'm so glad. I thought that virtue names might be too anarchistic nowadays. How? But I truly am fond of them. One of my aunts was called Charity, and my grandmother was Patience. Not that she was particularly patient. She used to hit my father for the smallest of misdemeanors when he was a young boy. But that was a long time ago. Face darkens, but only for a few moments. At any rate, I'm curious. Why are you in a gloomy place like this at such an hour when you should be at school? Oh, I just like graveyards, I guess. They're relaxing. This is quite a strange thing to say. Why do you think that? I'm not sure. I just like them. They're nice and quiet, and people don't come here much. When they do, they're quiet, too. It's a respectful thing to do. Apart from the local boys who tramp about here drunk on Friday nights and piss on the graves and scrawl rude words on them. Wow, what a bunch of dicks. I glanced at a nearby grave. That had been Elijah or Elisha. Pharaoh. Somebody has scrawled across top of it in black marker pen, God is dead. Holy hell! That's messed up. Jesus, I guess this game doesn't like atheists. It seems we have a bankery of our own living and borrow by. Who would have thought? And I like thinking of stories too. Stories? Yes, graves are small, and the people buried underneath them are turned into names and dates, nothing more. I think there must be more about these people than that, though. What were their parents like? Did they have any siblings? What was their job? Were they happy? What about all the people they met, whose lives they may have changed, without them even releasing it? I don't know what about all those things. I never will. It's fascinating, but at the same time, it's a little sad. I blush. My hands hanging limply at my sides. Did I say too much? I think I might have said too much. This is why I don't talk to people at school other than Hattie. It's because I'm weird and I've known my fellow classmates, Emily Hargreaves and Emily Turner included, would just laugh at me. Well, maybe Amelia wouldn't. Amelia is too nice to laugh at anybody. That's what I think anyway. It probably sounds stupid though. No, I think you made some good points. Did? Yes, every person has a story, and there is not enough space on a single tombstone to tell it. The sad truth is, there are so many people in this world, it's not possible to remember every single story. As the years go by, they fall by the wayside. The dead must always concede to the whims of the living, even in places like this. Emily looks back at Elijah or Elisha, Pharaoh's grave, decorated with biting political commentary, God is dead, and sighs. I think thinking of stories too, in fact. I could tell you a story of my own. I've been turning it over in my head for quite some time, and I'd be intrigued to hear your response. I wouldn't mind. Are you quite sure? I don't want to bore you. I can't remember the last time anybody wanted to hear what I had to say. No, I'm quite sure. I'd love to. There was nothing else I wanted to do here anyway. Nothing other than wander, trying to avoid thinking about school next Monday and how much trouble when it's discovered I've been playing truant. Is this English at all? Can someone tell me, is this really how English people speak? Because this is claiming to take place in modern times. Problems I've done ever since I was a child. I've always run away from my problems. I've done ever since I was a child. I must have inherited that admirable trait from my dad. Well then, if you want to follow me. Emily turns her hair fluttering, slips through the graveyard like a shadow. I follow her, curious and cautious as she leads me behind the church, where the trees are thicker and there are even more graves. She draws my attention to tombstone, just one tombstone of many. It juts out like a grass, like a tooth from a gum, slightly crooked. A few cracks run down its dark gray sides, and the top of the grave is fringed with pale yellow lichen. The name engraved in this tombstone is a little difficult to see, impressed only shallowly, and I have to strain my eyes to read it through the fog. I didn't explore the graveyards of Lincolnshire in my youth for nothing, though, and I'm more skilled than most teenagers when it comes to reading inscriptions on gravestones. Here lies the body of Philip Burns, 1807-1851, also Perdita Burns, wife of the above, 1811-1851, also Emmeline Burns, their beloved daughter, 1836-1851. May their souls... God dang it! I wish there was some way we could turn this fog off. Hold on, I have to wait. May their souls rest in peace. I shift, suddenly uncomfortable. Graveyards don't usually make me uncomfortable, but there's something about this tombstone that strikes a discordant note within me. Something here just isn't right. They all died on the same year. They did indeed, and all on the same day, too. I turn away from the grave, the final remnant of the unfortunate Burns family, and bite my lower lip. When next I speak, my voice is barely a whisper, even quieter than the wind. How do you know that? It's just a story. I already told you that. I suppose so, but when Emily said it didn't sound like a story. It sounded deadly serious. She looks serious, too. Her eyes are narrowed, her lips pursed, her face dark white, as though carved from stone. The fog throws about us like a veil. It's even thicker than it was. This is going to be a real feels. I knew this was going to be a feels trip. Than it was earlier this morning. I can taste the fog at the back of my throat when I inhale, and I cough. It tastes cold, rank, and repulsive. The taste of death. Just who is Emily anyway? She doesn't look like any girl I know. She doesn't act like any girl I know. I'm almost tempted to believe, but that would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? So, should I tell you my story? I must warn you, though, it's rather dour. Then again, given our setting, what other kind of story could it be? You should already know how it ends. Here we go, guys! Emmeline Burns, born in 1836 to Philip and Perdita Burns, led a charmed life. Her family was rather well-to-do, her grandfather being a lawyer, her father a banker, and she grew up in a large house with 5 bedrooms on the outskirts of Barrowby. Given her father's profession, he was often away in London on business, but this did not upset Emmeline. She was old enough to understand that her father needed to work so they could afford her nice house, and her fine clothes, and the ribbons she wore in her hair, so she did not complain. Though she did not see her father for months at a time, when he returned home it was always with a present for Emmeline, and a kiss on her cheek, and it was as though he had never been away at all. Philip was a kind man, though he may not have been a paragon of many virtues. He's the runt of the litter. If he were a pig, we'd have drowned him in the well, Grandmother Patience always griped. He's not naturally predisposed to the world of financing. He did have a good head on his shoulders, and he was relatively intelligent. Not even Grandmother Patience could deny that. It was through his quick wits, rather than his magnetic charisma, of which he was sorely lacking, that Philip had been able to expand upon the Burns family's fortune, as she had invested a good deal of their money into the stock market. Emmeline really did love her father, despite his lack of presence in her life, or maybe because of it, they do say. After all, that absent marks the heart grow fonder. Even when Phillips was not at home, Emmeline had a great deal to busy herself with, and she was never bored or lonely. She would help her mother in her embroidery, or exchange idle gossip with the servants, or go for long walks on the countryside, eating blackberries from the hedgerows on the snaggy brambles. Just hold on, guys. There we go. Sorry. Snagging her dress on brambles. Emmeline's long-suffering governess, Helena Warren, certainly had her hands full when it came to disciplining her rowdy pupil. Though Emmeline was not unintelligent, she had been born with the disposition of a sea captain or a polar explorer, and she was physically incapable of sitting still for 5 minutes. That is, unless she was with Cornelia Linton. Emmeline and Cornelia had known one another since they were both babies, and they were almost inseparable. They spent most of their waking hours together, sitting by the lakeside on the Lintons' private estate. They would stare out across the untroubled waters, which carried along with it lily pads, reeds, and fish with shimmering scales, and they would talk, sipping raspberry lemonade. Everyone in Barrowby knew that the lake in the Lintons' estate belonged to Cornelia and Emmeline. They had claimed it through the countless hours they had whiled away by those grassy banks, feeding the fish and dipping their bare toes into the water. Their lake was their private land, a secret garden everyone knew of, but nobody would intrude upon. And so it was that Emmeline and Cornelia spent the summer months together, basking under the sunshine. So, Beau, is your embroidery coming along? Cornelia pouted, giving Emmeline a light shove in the shoulder. Oh, please, do not ask me about embroidery. You know better than anybody how dreadful I am at it. I have no hand-eye coordination whatsoever. Emmeline giggled, returning Cornelia a shove with one of her own. I do not understand how you can be that terrible at sewing. Sewing, Nellie. It's hardly science. It might be simple for you, but it's not for me. Engaging in activity I have no talent for is incredibly disheartening, and I keep poking myself with the needle. Sorry, in my head I'm kind of writing what it's gonna say in my head, so I say it wrong. Oh, let me see. What? No! Cornelia's pout deepened, and she held her hands behind her back, attempting to hide them. Why do you want to see my hands anyway? Do you want to gloat? Me? Gloat? I would never. I just want to see the wounds that have been dealt to you, despite your best efforts. My dear Cornelia, so may I applaud you for your bravery. Sorry. Forgive me for being so cynical, but I suspect you may be making fun of me. Of course I will forgive you. You can't help your cynicism. Given your father fancies himself as a philosopher, it must run in your family. Indeed, he does. Our library is full of Hegel and Kant, though I doubt he understands it. Mother says he just wants to show off at dinner parties. How is he able to show off if he cannot understand the material he speaks of? It is nothing more than bluster. Mother says patience is one of the key traits a man must possess if he wishes to be successful in this world. My father is an earnest man. He could not lie if his life depended on it, especially not about philosophy. And that is why my mother worries about you, Emmeline. She said as much before. She need not concern herself with my family. We may not be as rich as you, but what we lack in wealth we make up with raw talent. Are you saying I have no talent? I am saying it is somewhat sad that a 14-year-old girl such as yourself still cannot sew a single comforter. Hey! Cornelia, who had let her guard slip as she pondered her father's ill-fated attempts to integrate himself with the intelligence of the age, tried to obscure her hand with her back once more, but it was already too late. What are you doing, Emmy? I'm examining your hands, as I said I would, and, oh dear, Emmeline tutted and shook her head, her fingers linked with Cornelia's. They are such beautiful hands, with such smooth skin, yet they are marked all over with red dots. It appears as though you have been using a human pincushion. I already told you, Emmy, I have no skills when it comes to sewing. Why must you tease me so? I was not teasing you, I was honoring your efforts. That is a bald-faced lie, and we both know it. If you had an ounce of respect for me, you would not be smiling like that. Like what? Like that. Now let go of me. But Emmeline did not. Instead, she continued to stand there, skirts fluttering about her legs, attempting to peer into Cornelia's grumpy little face with undistinguished amusement. Emmy, I told you to let go. Why do you never listen to me? Because seeing you blush is so much fun, of course. Ooh, I feel lesbians. Emmy! Because seeing you blush... Oh, sorry, I went backwards. If Cornelia had the use of both of her hands, perhaps she would have struck the top of Emmeline's head for insolence. As it was, she did not, and all she could do was glare. Glare and blush. Cornelia blushed a lot. That was one of the downsides of having such fair skin that... And when she poked herself with her sewing needle, as she was so prone to doing, the red welts that resulted stood out starkly against her milky complexion. Why are you acting so coy? I know you enjoy my company, really. Be that as may, you are behaving rather childishly right now, and I have no desire to indulge your whims. Honestly. Honestly? Honestly. Sorry, I don't know what it did there. Honestly. Even if those whims are your own as well. Well, Cornelia let her head hang, her face turning just a shade darker. This is not the first time the two girls had held hands. They had been friends ever since they were small, and they were not unfamiliar with the sensation of the other's skin. In fact, they were more well-versed with one another's bodies than one might have expected. Ooh, okay. Okay. We're going there. By the way, I have no problems with lesbians, okay? Don't freak out. Though their mothers would have scolded them for the unladylike manner which they comported themselves, when left alone by the lakeside, they would have been scandalized to learn of the other, more intimate actions that had taken place between the two girls. It had only a month or so ago, when, drunk on the lazy heat of the approaching summer, two girls had slowly, lackadaisically, shared their first kiss. Not a kiss on the cheek or the temple, so they had done during their babyhood, but a true kiss, typically shared between adults of the opposite sex. Neither of them knew who had instigated the kiss, or why they had lingered for so long in such a manner. Their lips pressed together, but both agreed after the fact that they had liked it. It had just felt right. As such, without giving these moments of intimacy too much thought, the two girls had continued to display their affection for one another in such a manner all through the summer of 1851. It may have been uncommon for two women to exchange such kisses and caresses, but what of it? Why should they not kiss one another if they wanted to? The lakeside was their own private haunt, their secret garden, and nothing could intrude upon them here, not even so-called common decency. That was another question. Why should it be indecent? Emmeline did not understand. She loved Cornelia, and Cornelia loved her. And was that not enough? Even if it was not enough for the rest of the world, it was more than enough for her. You know you really are beautiful. Do you honestly think so? Of course, I thought so from the moment when I was old enough to understand what beauty is. You're the loveliest people I have ever seen. Is that why you like me, then? Because you think I'm pretty? Maybe. We humans are fickle beings. Isn't your father proof enough of that? How cruel, Emmy. If you're only kissing me because you think I'm pretty, then perhaps I should reevaluate the nature of our relationship. You are nothing more than a rake. You're even worse than that awful Wedgwood boy. You would compare me to Aubrey Wedgwood? My dear Cornelia, I'm wounded. I am nothing at all like that boorish fop. Well, I wonder. He can be awfully insistent, too. Is it not fitting for a young man? Of course it's not fitting. Did you know he even deigned to make my hand during your mamma's garden party last week? Honestly. Indeed, I would have slapped him. Nellie? Had his mother not happened upon us? Did she scold him? Lady Wedgwood? Of course not. Brown did not even have the courtesy to wipe her mouth with a handkerchief afterwards. Under normal circumstances, Cornelia would have scolded Emmeline, but on the score she relented. Thinking about Aubrey Wedgwood often made her want to spit too. She dotes on that spoilt son of hers. Why, she probably believes him to be the second coming of Christ, though he flirts with every single woman in the village, old or young. You see, Lily, I am nothing like Aubrey. I'd rather die than become a rover like him. My feelings for you, my dear Cora, are molded from a different cast. You have captured my heart with your emperor beauty, and now mine eyes even wander no further. Smell my sweet red rose, newly sprung in June. Well, Cornelia, flustered though she was by Emmeline's teasing, had enough wits about her to recognize that line. Are you quoting poetry at me now, Emmy? Indeed. Did you know that my love is like the melody sweetly played in tune? Don't be an idiot. If you wish to serenade me, you would at least write a poem of your own. But I know you appreciate it, really. In all honesty, I think you are being rather foolish. I cannot help myself, though I really do love you, Cornelia. I love you so. Sometimes I fear I may go mad. What do you know of madness? I know when you are not by my side, I miss you horribly, and I find myself counting the minutes. No, the very seconds, until we may be in one another's company once more. Oh, well, I appreciate your feelings, Emmy. I love you too. Alright. We're gonna finish this off here. And we're gonna end off this video. So, we learn that Emily, in her past life, or it's obvious she's the Emily Burns that died, had a lesbian relationship back when being a lesbian was not acceptable. So, because if back then, if they ever found out that she had kissed a woman, or even had sex, we don't know, her family would be shamed and shunned, because back then it wasn't acceptable to be gay, lesbian, or bisexual. So I feel like that's going to add some conflict somewhere near the end of this story. So I'm really loving this story, guys. I love it so dang much, and at first it kind of dragged, but it got interesting, and I'm sorry the first episode was so chaotic. I really had hoped that any of you will still watch this series when I'm over and done with. So, thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Brony Time for more content and more of this fantastic story. And I will see you guys next time.